right, we have a lot of things going on today on YouTube. Jesse is on Sewertown right now, live streaming. So I know that there's a lot of people over there. I did give Jesse permission to share this video or restream it or show it at some point tonight. I'm not going to be talking for very long. I'm just giving the specifics about what happened. And I also think that this is kind of setting a new precedence on YouTube that I actually got 4 copyright infringement strikes on my YouTube community page by Nasty Troll Media. So I'm going to just continue here in a second. There's a lot of things that happens when you get a it's kind of a little bit different now than it used to be when you get a copyright strike. You have the ability to go to school about it on your first one, and go through the process. And then it stays on your channel as a warning, and then when it's over with, it leaves your channel. Or you can just wait it out for anything, just go okay, because eventually it's going to drop off in 90 days. Now the reason why, because and see, I learned a lot yesterday. Actually, like I said in my post, I found a YouTube copyright infringement lawyer that I had a couple times. I consulted with them. About the claims that he is making against me on copyright infringement for using fair use, because that's what it is. I described, because when you are, let's say, sharing somebody's intellectual property, whether that be that you're, sharing somebody's video and showing parts of it and doing commentary on it, it's really important that, in the video, it's not the entire video, and that it is just a portion that you're showing in terms of the conversation or the commentary that you're doing on the video, which is exactly what I did. What happened in those videos? And by the way, the thing that is the most interesting about those videos is it had to do with the voodoo doll. And that is the voodoo doll that first appeared on the channel Anonanon. And let me just kind of go back to what happened at the beginning of this year. I'm just going to just because in this conversation, it's really important to know the background of what happened, just in case people forget. Although I know that a lot of people that have been following this particular story are quite up on the conversation. But what went down is on January, I think it was 17th, I did a show. And it was my second show that had to do with Cat Williams. And it was about his interview at Club Shay Shay, which is like a forerunner to the Puff Daddy arrest and everything else that's going on. And I thought it was really interesting. I like Cat Williams. I had written an article about him when he was performing here in Fresno at the Staples Center for Flourishing Fresno magazine. And I had just recently, the person that I interviewed in regards to him was a friend of his, and Stephen Lully, who had been on his writing team during the his rise of his height, of his big tours and everything else. And so he gave me some insight about him. So I was very into, and then all of a sudden the Club Shay Shay interview happened, and it just exploded, and I wanted to cover it. And that evening, the profile that goes by Anonanon originally, and I posted it, but I've taken everything down right now about any of these people, and you will probably see a complete weeding out of this particular channel having to do with any of this scenario going on. Probably now because I am taking legal action. I've decided to pursue on the defamation that's happening, but I'm going to get to that in just a second. Um, so the Anonanon account came into my chat that evening, named my professor's name, and said that they were going to be contacting my employer. And the next day, Denise Mattow made the phone call. Now, Denise might deny that she was served a cease and desist, and also had a warning kind of police report, not a criminal report. However, she has harassed me since then, and so I'm just gonna leave it at that. It is very quite possibly, it's very possible. There is a possibility. I should say very possibly. It's not good grammar, but there's a possibility that at this point Denise might get a criminal report for making that phone call to me, because the officer had asked me to contact her and asked her to cease and desist, and obviously she hasn't. So I'm just giving like a little bit of background on what took place over what Denise had done. And however, now see, here's the situation. And again, stay with me because I'm going to get to the copyright infringement here. But because it pertains to this. For me, if you guys want to say whatever you want about my appearance, or even saying on your community page you think I'm an alcoholic, I'm not. There's no evidence of me being an alcoholic. I've never live streamed drunk ever. I do not perform or go to school or do anything intoxicated. And I have I don't even drink alcohol that much within a month, really. At best I might have one or two drinks throughout the entire month. I am not an alcohol drinker. I have done a parody of a drunken karaoke singer at 2:00 in the morning, and that was my closing bit, but that was an act. That was not that I was like that. Okay. That was a performance. But the artist, and I'm going to try to refer him to the artist that's made the copyright infringement complaints and everything like that, is, saying that. And he was saying that he tries to deny that any of his cartoons are about me, but one of the screenshots that I shared on my community page that he did a copyright infringement on was me showing part of his cartoon where he calls me Baby Randolph, which is my real last name in it, and then it has the title Alki Hula, which is a cartoon that I believe. If he's saying no, this was the Baby Randolph one. There's the Baby Randolph one, and then there's the Alki Hulua one, and then his CC'ing my employer's YouTube channel. They have he went on from his community page. He CC'd my employer and their YouTube channel, and said things like I was drunk. He made reference to the character that he made of me. And I mean, I don't understand. If he's going to deny that character isn't me, then why is he doing that in reference to me, to my employer? And these were some of the things that I was showing on my YouTube page. I was showing the receipt of what he had said, because he was denying that he had made any of his art about me, or that he had been harassing me with his cartoons. But I actually had a receipt of him not only using the cartoons to harass me with my school that I work for. All right. I hope that that is really clear. And in my commentary on, I was took the screenshot. It showed part of the cartoon, not the whole cartoon, and I wrote a whole bunch about what that I was talking about. And I have consulted an attorney, and they said that what I was doing was affirmative. It's like an like well, what I was doing was like basically to make a copyright infringement on that. I'm a journalist talking about what he was saying about me. I was doing a rebuttal, a showing of his abuse, his harassment of me, his contacting my employer. What would be the what is the desire to do something like that? Well, the desire to do something like that is the same motivation that I see Denise Mattel doing, contacting your employer so they hope that you get fired. He was saying that I was grooming children. I'm not children, but grooming students. That's the same thing that Anon says, is that I am grooming students. And I'm not looking at my chat right now. I'm just talking, and I'm not going to put my camera on because I'm not giving anybody any type of footage to cut away and try to humiliate me with or whatever, like all of you do. So I'm just briefly, this is really something that I'm hoping people will understand how this happens on the internet and how it's happening on YouTube, and really how negligent YouTube is being about it. So the main thing, and I'm pretty confident really at this point after talking to the lawyer and explaining and knowing the legal jargon and other cases that were involved fair use and this type of argument. Now I know how to present my counterclaim based on what the lawyer has given me. She gave me a template to look at and make the argument and the counterclaim. She also said that my argument and the counterclaim for the post is the same, but she says well, I'm not going to say everything that she includes, but she does talk about how it's still fair use. It wasn't meant for me. I was not taking any of his material to make money and use as and take money away from him. That it was strictly fair use and a conversation of what's happening. And my thought is, and the reason why he's doing this, because and he thinks that he's gotten away so far because YouTube, when it gets down to this, they're going to make it go into like litigation with lawyers and things like that. They're not going to, they do not step in and become the judge of what copyright is or the particular situation or nothing. All right. What he did was he took, if you look at his channel, every single graphic that he has in his cartoons, or not maybe in the cartoons, but in anywhere, he's got it signed. He's got his artist signature on it, and he has the copyright date of when that particular art was created. Now, and I know this because I've gone to a copyright class. Anytime you finish a video or any type of work or whatever, and it's been uploaded to the public, you automatically have the copyright of it. There's other kinds of laws I've looked into where it's good to copyright it officially and this and that, whatever, but that's pretty much the bottom line. Right. And when you're doing a copyright claim, if somebody's using like your entire video and that's it, and they don't have anything else in the video, no other commentary, no nothing, technically you really shouldn't show the entire video. And if you do, you should actually be stopping and talking and maybe skipping around and showing parts of it, because that's where you know that you're safe on fair use. Now, I never ever have like mirrored any video of the artists at all, because he already showed also a stink on on his copyright and his claim and this and that and blah 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 blah. And I always felt that, well, they're not going to do copyright infringement on a community page post, because you're simply showing something as a receipt and then doing commentary on it in your post or whatever. I mean, it would be different if I took his little, like, cartoon drawing that he has in his thumbnail and made it my thumbnail. That would be copyright. That would be me, impersonating him. But when you're actually just sitting there and you're showing what they're saying about you, you're showing their abuse of you, and you're making an argument against their claims of what they're saying on their community page, that is not copyright infringement. And it doesn't matter really whether he has his little thumbnail that shows in the dialogue. That doesn't matter. That doesn't stop anybody. That doesn't stop a journalist. That doesn't stop a person for making comments on and showing what they said about you and then commenting about it in your post. And you know what? It was so, like, it took me a while. I finally got this one really good attorney that was really helpful. And there was a couple other attorneys that I talked to. One guy didn't even know how to fight that. He was, oh, well, you're going to just need to get some sort of lawyer to cover this. But the other lawyer, the one who told me about the fair use and that what I was doing is fair use and how to do the counterclaim and everything else, she was the one who explained to me that he was actually he's abusing. I think he's abusing the YouTube platform in order to silence me. And another argument, this is a criticism I have of YouTube. If you go to somebody's community page, and I'm hoping this is educational to everybody, because this is the purpose of my show. Because, like, if people can do this, imagine this. If people can do this and you do your StreamYard live stream and you're showing somebody's community page and you're showing like work or whatever, or a thumbnail or something in that dialogue, or you're showing the dialogue, don't think that somebody else isn't going to jump in here and do the same thing. See? And what's even more interesting to me about it was that when you report a YouTube community post, there is no option to make a copyright infringement claim. So how he was able to manipulate that and then make a claim for copyright on it is beyond me. And it's so new and so unheard of that it doesn't even show up in my dashboard. I cannot even make an appeal to it. So how is it that YouTube can punish somebody, take their video down and strike them for something that isn't even available as an option for somebody to report? There is no coverage or explanation of it in their copyright strike information. And I really criticize, I think that there's a problem with YouTube, that they're even doing that or allowing somebody to do that to me, when it's pretty obvious that, I mean, if you looked at it, you could see that I was actually talking about it. So maybe the person who, like the AI or the person who looks at it or whatever, they just see, because he's already made a claim, he's already got it in there that this is my work and she's blank, 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 and blah, 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 blah. He also changed his name in the second claim of the videos to something like, well, I'm not going to say it, but it's not what his Twitter channel is called. He called it something else, which would have identified his artwork more. Let me just put it that way. So the other aspect of this that happened that I want to impart with you is as I did the first conversation with the attorney and I talked about like just specifically the copyright situation. I didn't give her any details about him harassing me or anything like that. I just wanted, like sometimes when you're talking to a lawyer, you just want to know that, the bare minimum of how to fight what you're looking for. You don't need the superfluous information. I didn't find it necessary. But When I called back later, because I got those strikes, I think the final one came in at 1:30 in the afternoon. It was right before I went to work, and which was lovely, right? So I'm going into work and I'm realizing, oh geez, I gotta find an I gotta get that YouTube, gotta find that lawyer, because he's really coming at me. So I talked to the lawyer about the videos and what to do about that and what the legality of that was. And then I talked to her about the community page posts. At which point, I was telling her about that. But as I was talking to her about that, that's when I said that I was being harassed and that he had contacted my employer via YouTube. And then I started talking about all the other things that are going on, I'm going to call him Saint Germain. Okay. So the Saint Germain wannabe and the hex stitch bruja. Right. And I mentioned, and the guy that, that's the SRA victim, crier of the town of Iowa. And the things that they were saying about me, which involves, calling me a pedophile, calling me a child trafficker, saying that I'm a Satanist, calling me a Nazi, and various other sundry defamation, malicious defamation things that have been said about me. And the fact that my employer was called and that I had gotten harassing phone calls and that I had been text during my live streams. And they also talked about the group that these people are associated with. And when I say the group, I'm talking about the group that has to do with the number 17, 17th letter of the alphabet group. Okay. Yeah. And she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe, shocked almost. Like, oh my God. And she says, you have a defamation lawsuit. And I said, well, I'm a college student and I really don't, have the money to afford something like that. She says, well, some lawyers work on contingency, right? And they will take your case. And so she gave me a list of lawyers to contact in the state of California. And I've decided that I'm gonna find a way to legally fight this. And if I think I have a lawsuit, and my feeling is that if you're on your camera or you're posting things or you're contacting my school in efforts to sabotage my ability to make money, you are on high alert. And I'm going to say you're on high alert in more ways than one, not just a court case. And the latter would involve police officers and law enforcement. This is really how this is going down. And I also, I probably won't live stream for a really long time. I have to say that I'm not happy with YouTube. I have found YouTube to be very unpleasant to be on. And I feel that YouTube has failed in protecting my privacy. They have allowed impersonation of me. They have, I have been threatened and harassed, and malicious defamation has happened to me on YouTube, I'd say nearly daily, and from more than one channel this entire year. Definitely. And maybe even going back for the last 2 years when I met Saint Germain, the Saint Germain wannabe, and the Hex Witch Bruja. And you know what? Before that was the artist. And I find it very interesting that everything that he has slapped me down and really abused YouTube's platform, and YouTube, shame on YouTube for allowing that copyright infringement happen on a community post. when you don't even have a standard for it looks really bad on the part of YouTube. I did at Team YouTube on this video as I would be live streaming, and I really hope that they're listening, but they probably aren't. They're going to like turn a blind eye. Maybe it's something that legally does need to happen. Maybe this needs to come out in the open for people to realize how their platform can be manipulated in order to intimidate people's free speech and to threaten, harass, and then try to get them fired. I personally find the YouTube, most of the time, the YouTube guidelines are used to censor people than they are to actually protect their hosts. So, I'm just making this one statement. It really bothers me to have my fundamental First Amendment right to defend myself on my community page, and that the artist has manipulated YouTube to do this, to silence me about talking about the voodoo doll, about talking about Anon, and talking about his activities of harassment on his page. And at this point, I really don't have anything else to say. And so I'm going to say goodbye. I'm playing a little music, maybe see somebody said something in the chat, and otherwise have a good night. I've got to get back to my homework.
Went up downtown. Went up downtown. Went up downtown. I want to save my soul. Save my soul. save my soul. Up, save my soul. Up, save my soul. Went up, downtown. Up, went up, downtown. Went up, downtown. I was walking out one evening late.
Headed for the riverside, around us fuss and fight.